So let's get right into it. We are talking about Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, the 7th Transformer film, live action film, I should say, 8th overall. We're going to be talking full spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie, go away, check it out, come back, pause this, whatever you want to do to go see the movie, because we will be spoiling the ever-loving shit out of it. Now let's get right into it. Transformers: Rise of the Beasts is directed by Steven Caple Jr., who did Creed 2, my favorite Creed film, actually, which is written by Joby Harold, who wrote Army of the Dead and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Also King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword. Ben, what's that King Arthur movie with, what's his name?
Charlie Hunnam.
Charlie Hunnam. What's that movie? He did that movie. Darnell Metayer and Josh Peters, who are currently writing the Val Zod movie or show that Michael B. Jordan is working on.
Had a lot of writers on this one.
And Erich Hoeber and Jon Hoeber, the brothers, who wrote The Meg recently and Battleship, among others.
A lot of writers on this.
So those are the 5 writers on this movie.
Yeah, wow. Can't even tell.
So what do we think about this one? Ryan or Ben, who wants to go first?
Ben, I want to hear what you think, Mr. Beast Wars.
Well, I liked it. I want to say talking about it more, maybe starting to love it more. But the reason why I'm saying I'd like it outright is because, unfortunately, when I saw this movie with Brandon, I know this is going to come up. We had a horrible theater experience because there was some people behind us who would not shut up. And there was also a guy who was constantly clapping during the scenes that honestly didn't need to be half clapping. So
he was loving it.
No, that's fine.
He
We're happy.
was.
It's just that it was very distracting for the rest of us.
Yeah, I get you.
And
real quickly, Grayson Live, because there's a pause there. Grayson Live, no need to answer on the stream, but I will. No, you do not need to see the other Transformers films outside of Bumblebee.
And even then, there's one
debatable.
Line, and you'll be fine. But Bumblebee's like the best one, so you should see it.
Yeah, Bumblebee is great. Go watch Bumblebee. Other than that, I still had a good time with this movie. I actually thought that the character development of Optimus Prime was pretty good. I thought that the action was really good. If I had any complaint, I was kind of bummed that there weren't any real Predacons, but the antagonists in the movie were still really good threats, and we still got nods to the Predacons in the badges, so there's hope that we can see them again. I actually really liked how the Beast Wars robots, well, even in Beast form, they were...
I'm going to actually cut you off because I want to get Ryan's initial thoughts because you're going into a lot of things
that
we should definitely talk about. But Ryan, your initial thoughts are?
I liked it. I had a good time. I wish I liked it as much as Bumblebee. I don't think it's as strong as Bumblebee. I do think it has the strongest human protagonist of any Transformers movie. I love these characters.
Yeah.
I would love to continue to see these characters do more stuff. I was really drawn to them. I wish I liked it. This is gonna sound weird because this is a Transformers movie, but this is the one case where I wish I liked the Transformers more. I think the villains are cool, but they're there to do their job, so that's fine. All their personalities are. I have a Mirage here. I'm not the hugest Transformers fan, but I really like Mirage just because he's a cool F1 car and he's usually cool and spunky. And I actually like Mirage a lot in this movie. I found everyone else to be fine. Air Razor is that's Michelle Yeoh. Yep, there's no character there, y'all. Gorilla Prime is cool. He's not in the movie nearly enough, I think, but that's the whole plot thing. So that's fine. Optimus, I'm gonna be honest. This is a total me thing. I don't think anyone else forgets this. I don't really care for Optimus in this movie. I understand he's on a journey. He's on an arc to learn to love humans. But is this a prequel to Transformers or is it not? He's also really bloodthirsty, but that's just something that Michael Bay did. I just like my Transformers to be a little less bloodthirsty, but that's just, again, a me thing. I don't know. It's necessarily a negative of the movie. I just thought the script was pretty weak for the Transformers. A lot of Optimus lines are pretty weak to me. Also, Peter Cullen sounds like he's 900 years old, and that's because he is, and that's not a bad thing. That's how he is. I wanted to like the Transformer stuff more. I thought the final battle was pretty weak, to be honest. It's really great. I like the human stuff though. If the human stuff wasn't as strong, I'd probably be weaker on a movie. But overall, I liked it.
So I loved this.
Hell yeah.
Bumblebee is the best, and it's not close. And even after watching Transformers: Rise of the Beast, it's not close. Bumblebee has a lot going for it. It's a much simpler story. It's not as focused on as many characters. It's just focused on the two. So there's a lot that Bumblebee is able to do because of how simple it is. This is far more complicated than that script. But I really had a good time. I really liked all the Transformers. That's not true. I really like most of the Transformers. Optimus, Prime, and Primal I like quite a bit. Because it does with Optimus's. Let's just start there. Let's start with Optimus's arc in this, because we've all kind of touched on it in our initial thoughts, but let's start there. So Optimus Prime, his arc in this movie is that he doesn't trust humans. He thinks that humans are very selfish, and he's not going to, and he doesn't want to involve himself with them because he has put it on himself that they are trapped on Earth and they were never meant to be. So he's really regretful of it. And then the death of B is kind of what sets him over the edge. That's a very similar arc that he goes through in Transformers: Age of Extinction and The Last Night. And for me, I think probably I'm kind of with Ryan. I do prefer my Optimus Prime to be less bloodthirsty, but I think kind of recognizing this as a much more compelling version of what that shitty thing was, I actually really liked it. And that might be because I was pun intended primed for it.
Yeah, it is definitely that is a good point to bring up. It is a better version of that. And it is, again, like, it makes sense for the story. Like, this is a Prime, like, if you're meeting humans for the first time, like, you have no reason to trust them. It's if all this stuff, like, you're going through your own shit. I get it. I just didn't think the writing was very good for it. There's a lot of lines. I wish I remembered them. Again, I only got to see it today because I worked all week and today's my first day off. So, like, I wish I could remember some of the lines, but I'm just like, it felt really generic. There's a lot of his lines felt really generic. I mean, like, Peter Cullen's really good at it. It's good stuff. But, like, I remember Air Razor. One line specific got me. She's like, "Oh, Scourge touched me and he left a mark. I'll be okay." And I'm like, I'll be okay. I'm like, okay. Anthony, I'm mixing the actor and the character's name. But Nolan Diaz, the character. I really like him a lot, man. I think he's really great. The stuff with his brother, very Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider. Really into it. I don't want to go into too many places. Sorry. No,
but there's actually two things that you brought up that I want to talk about, which is that I agree. I think Anthony Ramos is great as Noah Diaz. I think Elena doesn't get as much to do, but I also really like her.
She's great. Yeah.
So Ryan was absolutely correct. I think this is the most compelling human characters we've gotten so far.
Oh yeah.
Because they have their own agency, and what I found really refreshing is that their goal is different than the Autobots' goal, and we've never seen that before. We've never seen the two goals at odds before. So I was really excited. So I think they handled that pretty well, and which comes to a head when Prime pleads with Noah, please don't, because if you do, we're stranded here forever.
That is a good scene. I do like that thing. Yeah.
But on the voice acting, I actually really like the voice acting of Air Razor. Personally, I like Michelle Yeoh, and Ron Perlman I think kills it as Optimus Primal. The only thing that I wish wasn't the case is that so many of the voices sound so similar. Unicron, Scourge, Primal, for example, all kind of have the same kind of deep resonant voice where I'm like,
gravelly.
This is a little samey. I kind of wish you did something different here.
I agree. I do like Ron Perlman. Like, I don't know what he could have done to make himself more Ron Perlman or whatever, but I thought he was good. I didn't if you would have told me that was somebody else, I'd also just believe you. If I heard it was Ron Perlman, oh, actually it was Hugo Weaving, I'd be like, oh, sure, I believe that. I don't totally hear Ron Perlman all the way, but it was a good performance. Wheeljack, interesting choice.
Oh, I hate how they do Wheeljack so much.
I thought we were past doing this.
Me too. When they said Wheeljack, I was hoping to see the head fins, classic Wheeljack, but guess not.
So his voice actor is a character called Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso.
Oh, sure, okay.
He's one of the soccer players, and I recognize them immediately. But I think one of the things that I appreciate about the new Transformers designs is that they're a little bit blockier. They're not as thin or metal as the Bay films.
So good.
But Wheeljack is so interesting because it's such a departure from his original design that I don't understand what the thought process was.
I don't know.
Because RC looks dead on.
Yeah.
She looks great, honestly. I thought RC looked excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Mirage.
I'm so glad we kept with the G1-ish designs. I think everybody, even though some of the designs like might be a little weird, I think like they just look so much better than the super intricate Bay design.
There's a scene where Optimus, who's now back to being a flat nose truck, as we saw in Bumblebee, he does a drift in the city they're in, and I was like, man, that's so much cooler than a long nose truck. I don't know what it is, but it just feels so much cooler.
I think there are so many great like moments in like, but I think my favorite like transformation is Stratosphere, the old robot plane.
Yeah,
because he transforms so slowly because he's so old, and you really get to see like you obviously see all the transformation stuff happening, but like it's so slow, you see it all happening. It's like, damn, like these are some really good animators, man. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
He and all the characters like they all feel real enough. Like I was a little worried. I love Pete Davidson. He's a great comedian, but like he showed up in Fast X for a minute. I'm like, it's fine or whatever. Like I was a little worried about him being Mirage, but like actually, I really like him.
He's my favorite Transformer.
Yeah, he brings the Pete Davidson energy, but there is like they do rein him in where like he's not like just saying the most nonsense stuff. Like he still gets to be a funny character, but have some pathos and some heart and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And what's really nice is that what's really nice about the Transformers, even the ones that don't get a lot of love, is they feel distinct. Mirage doesn't feel like Bumblebee or RC. They all feel very distinct characters, and that's, I'm going to talk about a little bit about Age of Extinction a lot because I watched it this week. But I don't even know the names of all the new Transformers in that film. I know Hound because it's John Goodman, and Ken Watanabe is one of them. But like, it doesn't matter what their names are because they're all just interchangeable, quoting one-liners and not actually talking to each other. And it's really cool to like. I think Pete Davidson brings such an interesting and honestly good personality to Mirage, and he honestly steals the show because of it.
Yeah, I think I just love like the brother mentality and all the stuff with Chris. That's the younger brother's name, the sick brother.
Yeah.
The stuff with him and like, oh, yo, like your brother gave me the radio so we can all keep in touch, and like all the stuff has a great payoff at the end that I think is incredibly sweet. Like again, like that was like my biggest worry was Pete Davidson like stunt casting. I'm like, no, that dude actually he brought something. It was good.
Yeah.
Good.
So Mac has a comment. I'm a little curious which Maximals were in Air Razor Squad when they arrived Earth. So
the real quick before you answer, when she said I'm the last one, I'm like, God damn it, we're not seeing anybody else.
So that
no baboon.
That's what happened to me because I was looking at the. First off, what kind of ticks me off about that line is that we don't see any other Maximals in the beginning of the movie when we're on the Maximal planet, and so the implication is later in the movie that there were more Maximals on that arc that left, but we don't see them ever, and now they're just dead. Yeah. I really don't like that because it really limits you. Being like, are you just gonna? Is that supposed to be like, oh yeah, Rat Trap was in this movie?
So before she said that everyone's dead, I assumed they were all just still on the other planet, and like these are the ones who escaped, and they're just living in a really bad time, and we would come rescue them or something. Yeah. But no, they also came with us, but they just died off screen. I'm like, what? I wish you just didn't tell me that. You didn't have to tell me that, and the movie would have been totally the same.
It could have just been like, yeah, we lost track of Air Razor once.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, we had others, but we don't know what happened to them, and then that just leaves it open for the future to do whatever you want. Like you made it so finite for no reason.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my issues with the Maximals is I do really like seeing the Maximals.
Yeah.
But Cheetor and Rhinox are just kind of set dressing.
Yeah.
And we hardly see them in their robot forms. We mostly see them in their beast modes, which is fine. They look great. But
I will say I didn't go, yeah, for the double rollout moment. I did go, yeah, for the maximize moment. And see, I think that's why it's worth it, because if we saw the robot transformations early, that final scene wouldn't be a payoff. Because like that maximize moment, and then you finally get to see what they all look like. I'm like, oh
yeah. The second one Ron Perlman says Cheetor, Rhinox, maximize, even like I was like, yeah.
What's it?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Like that's a really good point, Ryan. I didn't think about that. That moment is really good because we don't see them in their robot forms. It's in that case, I'll say it's kind of a bummer we don't get to really get a good look at Cheetor and Rhinox's robot designs because they're only briefly seen in the fight.
I agree, and that's one thing where like I don't particularly love that last fight just because the giant like drone of like endgame enemies that we're fighting on like the barren wasteland. Like the only real color that happens in that fight is like when Bumblebee shows up. And that's also another problem I have with the movie is like fake killing Bumblebee. Like, you really think I'm going to believe that you're going to kill Bumblebee? And the other part about that is, because since we're already here, I cannot talk about it. I knew he wasn't dead the second this happened. That's fine, whatever. They keep dragging his dead body around everywhere they go. And they keep just dropping it. Like, you're just carrying him around like, he's not dead. If he were actually dead, you would leave him behind or whatever, or you'd bury him. But he just had a movie, and we have other movies that we may or may not be setting up to, depending on who you ask.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't. Since we're talking about the stakes,
it's such a waste of time of the movie. It did not need to happen.
Since we're talking about the stakes, I agree 100% with Ryan. I don't think killing both Bumblebee and Mirage, fake killing both Bumblebee and Mirage, works to this movie's favor. And it sucks that the only Transformer we lose is Airazor. Like, how shitty must that be for Primal, knowing that both of Prime's Autobots came back, but Airazor didn't?
Yeah, we're both fine. Yeah, it's a bummer.
And that's such a bummer because, like, part of this is selfish because, like, I want you to cut that cord to the Bay films, is to keep Bumblebee dead, because we've had 6 movies with Bumblebee. He had his own movie. Kill him. And how bold would that be? Because it's a really sad moment.
It is. And this is the part where knowing how Hollywood works is like, I couldn't just live in that moment. Cause like, I knew it wasn't real. Like you cannot convince me just because I know how Hollywood works. The producers like, oh, this is a prequel to the Bay movie. So like, you're not killing Bumblebee. And then there's the moment of like, oh, there's energy on rocks. So maybe if there's enough energy, he can come back to life. And like, all that is just for a setup. So you can have a music sting of don't call it a comeback. That's all that's for. All that is so he can come onto the battlefield like Thor, which is a cool moment. Like I'm not gonna lie, like, it is a cool moment. And again, he is the color. He's the yellow driving through the gray, and I'm like, that's really good looking. I'm like, I wish he didn't have to be dead for half the movie for it.
Yeah, I wish that there were more stakes in the film. Specifically, I could buy you bring back Mirage. And I would be happy with that. I think killing both Airazor and Bumblebee makes for a more impactful film.
And I love the first, like the ending of Mirage when I thought he was going to. I thought like, man, that sucks. Like I actually really liked his Transformer, but like this is a good ending. Like he sacrificed himself for a brother. It taught our character like a lesson and stuff. Then also he didn't die, and I'm like, oh, well,
yeah,
it's a good moment and stuff.
But if we hadn't just gotten Bumblebee back, that moment would have been, oh no, we didn't get Bumblebee back yet. So that was Bumblebee comes back shortly after. Because
it's like a 1-2 punch. Yeah.
Yeah, because Bumblebee.
He's the moment after something bad happens where this is the good moment about to happen.
Yeah, because then Anthony Ramos gets the Mirage armor, which looks pretty cool, honestly.
The Spike Wiki armor, that is pretty cool. He's little Iron Man, love it.
So I agree with Ryan. Ryan mentioned his favorite transformation in the movie. One of my favorite all time is when Optimus is saved by Primal and Noah Diaz. And you see him like his legs bent backwards, his torso spins around, and he's like, I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that transformation.
Yeah. Let's see. RC is pretty cool. Again, like a lot of these guys are kind of like just in the movie and they're there to be cool, and they are cool. I do like the chase scene where she's with Wheeljack and like the missile goes through and then he has to open his door for the missile. Like that's some good good action.
I know you said you didn't like the end fight scene, and I totally respect that. I really like all the action sequences in this one, and I liked how much there were because I thought there's some really good Transformer action sequences in this movie for me. The fight on the highway with Scourge and Optimus is so cool. Yeah. The fight at the end with Scourge and Optimus.
Oh yeah, I love all the individual fights. I think all those are pretty good. Like the fight at the museum, like when we first meet our villains and stuff. Like I think all that stuff's really cool. I really like, again, like there's not a lot of depth, but like I really like our villains. Like my favorite, I don't even remember. I think it's Nightwing. Is that with the pink flyer? I think it's Nightwing.
I think it's Nightscream.
Nightscream, whatever it is. I think she's just a bad bitch who likes to kill people, and I'm like, hell yeah, you look cool. She's got a great design.
I like Scourge a lot, actually, because I like this concept that this guy's just evil, but also he's desperate for Unicron's approval. He is. Oh, yeah. I love that he's genuinely a threat to our Transformers and scared of Unicron, because I think it did effectively create the stakes of like, oh, well, shit. If he's scared of Unicron, then Unicron's way, way, way worse. And we know that textually, but it gives kind of this context of the film.
I do really like. I think Unicron looks great. Like I think the opening, like I think his design, like that is just like they got that design great. That's perfect. I like that it didn't kill him, so there is still like a future where like there can be a giant.
Yeah, he's got to be teleported into the center of the earth.
Yeah. Man, the producer's really gonna have a hard time explaining that one, I think.
Yep. What
if that really is the plot of the next movie? It's like we gotta teleport him, and it's like it's the core of the earth now. I might be okay with it.
I don't know, man. I don't want that.
I
don't want you to limit this because I want you to keep going.
It should have just been like a soft reboot. It's like don't worry about it too much, kind of thing.
Yeah. I really like Unicron's design also, Ryan. I think he looks awesome. Part of me wishes he had transformed. There's no room for that in the movie, but I hope we see it someday.
Yeah.
I'm actually really okay. We only saw Unicron in planet form because even in planet form, especially when he eats a planet for the first time, like in the.
But it looks just like the animated movie too.
Exactly.
I thought it was cool.
Like seeing that CGI, just seeing that animated in that style or in modern ways, it's just like, yo, Unicron is a threat. Unicron is just like, goddamn, who would win the fight, Unicron or Galactus?
That's a good fight to watch.
I mean, obviously both.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I would say both are threats, but just seeing Unicron, seeing how huge he is, just seeing how big and how these giant pincers just like break into a planet. He's eating a planet. Like
the scale, the scale is effective.
The scale is like, damn.
So this is something I remember this from the Transformers the movie. He basically has like a Silver Surfer. He has an emissary because that's what Megatron became Galvatron, right? Isn't that the whole thing? Okay, so like Scourge getting like super powerful. I like that idea that like he has like dark energy. I wish
they called it Energon.
Dark Energon, yeah. I was like, it's right there, guys. I like the final battle with Scourge and Optimus and I keep mixing their Anthony Ramos is Noah Diaz. It feels like, I guess it's the power of friendship and teamwork. I guess I'm fine with that answer, but like I thought this dude was supposed to be like unkillable, and then like Optimus very easily kills him. And I guess I totally don't have a problem with that. I just like they were shooting him earlier and like nothing was happening, and I'm like now they're just able to take him out. And I wish there could have been something like, oh, my connection to is losing something. I don't know.
There's a toy that has Optimus, that has this Optimus Beast Rise of the Beast Optimus, but his chest is open and we see the see the Matrix of Leadership. I kind of went into this movie thinking we would see, because it's designed like it would be from this movie. I thought we'd see the Matrix of Leadership, and that's how he beats Scourge, because there's power within the Matrix.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be the case. I was a little surprised it's not, but I love it when Optimus gets the upper hand, because he like throws lava at Scourge and like just slicing. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Just like his whole thing.
This like, belongs to a friend of mine.
That was. I love that bit. And also, I just like how Scourge, he takes a trophy. He takes the emblems from every Transformer he kills. Yeah. And I just love how you see Decepticons, you see the Predacons, Maximals, Autobot, everyone. He does not care.
Who's Scourge? Isn't it
Scourge is a Terracon. He is Peter Dinklage.
Sorry, yeah, Peter Dinklage. Yeah, I think he's good. He's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was Peter.
Got a cool Phantom of the Transformers thing going on.
Yeah, I like the idea that that it was a mask. I like that was cool.
Yeah, because
he's a really cool villain, I think.
Up. Also, I like how he must have betrayed his planet, because Unicron does say you'll die with the rest of your planet, so he must have joined up with Unicron just to save himself.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I like the scene where Noah gets the Mirage armor. I think that's really cool. And
I can go somewhere if you're struggling to find a point.
Yeah, go somewhere.
Okay, so
I'm gonna transform him silently while you.
I really like. I'm really happy that the Beast machines are in it. That the Maximals are in it. I'm really happy about that because I think they're really cool characters and I want to see more of them. I wish they were more explicit with where they came from, because there's two lines where he says, "I'm from your past and your future," where Razor says, "I'm from your past and your future," and then there's a line where Optimus Primal says, "I'm named after you, the legendary Cybertron warrior."
Mm-hmm.
Because So it's clearly in the movie that they're from the future and they went to the past, but it's not explicitly stated within the film, so it ends up just kind of being weirdly confusing lines.
Yeah. You know, I would say
Ryan
one of my
I was just gonna agree with you. I think it's, you don't have to have like pre-notions of it, but like it is kind of a thing where like we are from the future and we came to the past. We only say it once. You just have to kind of remember that, and just like they don't do a good job of really explaining that, because like that is a heady ass concept. Like the MacGuffin. And like I didn't realize this was like I thought this was like, because I'm not super caught up on Beast War stuff, like the trans-dimensional space-time device.
A transwarp, like a transwarp conduit.
What a MacGuffin. Holy shit. Like that is the most powerful. Not only could it go anywhere in space, anywhere in time. It's a TARDIS. They have a TARDIS in their hands. And this monkey man just has it in his backyard. And I'm like, that is the strongest MacGuffin. Why does anybody have this? That's crazy.
And even like Optimus says, like this went missing thousands of years ago. So like it creates this weird thing of like, well, I wish that they had just not even said like, here's the whole story of the Beast Wars, but just be like, we're from the future of Cybertron, and we came to Earth's past. Just that. But I think the only reason it's not explicitly stated is because they have to be on another planet in this time period for them to say that Unicron is a threat, because otherwise, if Unicron's in the future and they find them going to the past, there's no reason for Unicron to give a shit about where they went. Doing it like this way makes it so that Scourge has to come to Earth and find the transwarp key, and that would bring Unicron here. That's the only reason why they don't explicitly explain it, and I find that just kind of a bummer.
Yeah. Again, I don't particularly think the script is super hot. Again, like this MacGuffin thing, it's perfect for Beast Wars, because like, hey, we're just gonna use the thing, but like it's so ridiculous.
Optimus's hope to go home. This thing.
Yeah. I will say about the Beast Wars bit. I like how their designs are still very Cybertronian, alien, mechanically.
Oh, they got fur. Oh, it looks good.
They do have fur, but you can still tell that they're aliens. Obviously, Optimus Primal is this giant alien. It's not like what's behind Ryan right now, which is like this is what they look like actual animals, and then they transform into robots. They are still, they are still animal characteristics, but you're tell that they're robots.
I love the designs. Like I love that it's like seamless, like metal, like mesh fur, like just everywhere at all times. Like it doesn't make sense. Like how are you born? How does this it looks so cool.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a later season of the Beast Wars where some of the machines get transmetals, where they're like more shiny metallic designs, but they're still animals. Like Megatron is like now this metallic purple. He has like hover planes on his legs.
Optimus Primal, what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, but also toned down quite a bit, but still it's like, here's a robot ape.
I think I prefer, real quick, sorry, but I think I honestly, I understand like the original design. I think I prefer these designs where like they still look like they're robots. Like they don't just turn into basically like the animal versions. I like that you can still see the robot aspects of it.
And if they didn't, like Optimus Primal would be really small.
Yeah.
Because if he turned into like a real ape, he'd be like the size of
like Megatron's gun, but like
yeah. Mag is in the comment. Mag is in the comments. I'm hoping they bring in Nemesis Prime in the future, or the Unicron's other followers in Transformers Armada. So
that makes sense.
Mag, go watch Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom if you want that, because that's a pretty good season.
There you go.
Nemesis and Galvatron come from the future to fight their past selves.
That's pretty sweet.
Pretty cool. Cool. So. Yeah, I agree. I like the Maximals designs in this one. It does suck, as Ben said, that there are no Predacons, unless you count Scorponok. But it's kind of. I'm glad they used Scourge, if you're not going to get to use Megatron. But it's kind of a bummer that the first time we see the Beast Machines, the Predacons aren't there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like after reading our book club, where I because again, I have a memory Beast Wars is gone. After reintroducing myself to Magmatron, the coolest freaking guy on the planet, he's 3 dinosaurs that turns into 1 robot. If we're never gonna see that guy, that makes me really sad. That makes me really sad. Because that dude, how do you make that work in live action? He's a chimera. He's a literal chimera transformer. Like, that's so dope. That's a shame.
Yeah.
So a couple of more notes I have here. The sound design in this movie I think is really good, as well as the music. I just want to say I like the music a lot. They used Steve Jablonsky's score from the first Transformers.
I know it. Like, did Bumblebee do that?
No, Bumblebee didn't do that.
Okay, because I definitely noticed the na 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 na. I'm like, that's the Wiki. Where are you at?
Yeah, which I like that score, so I was happy to hear it.
That's good.
The sound design I think is really good. There's a lot of moments where this film really embraces the transforming sound effect from G1. The what is it? What is it, Ben? You can do it better. Yeah, but not just that sound effect, because they do have that sound effect, but they have the metal clings in the same tones a lot of the time. When Optimus's mask is like ching 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 ching, and it's really cool that they've embraced that in a way that's really true, but also really unique. Because Bay didn't. Bay only used the sound effect within the transforming noise, and because they transformed for like days.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was really cool. I'm really happy.
What was the name of the skinny robot thief in Transformers 1? He could turn pencil thin.
The pencil thin one. Isn't that the beads from Transformers 2?
No, I'm thinking of Transformers 1. It's like there's like
Frenzy.
Frenzy. Were the Endgame mindless drones remind you of Frenzy at all? Yeah. They kind of had similar. Okay, they felt like it was like the proto version of what Frenzy becomes. Okay,
there's
that's fun. There's
a little too much Bay in this movie. I think for the most part, this movie has a really interesting energy to it. It's really nice that this is the first film directed by a person of color. The first Transformers film directed by a person of color. It feels different. It feels like it has a different energy to it, which I like.
One thing that honestly I really, really appreciated is the diversity of it. Like being in not just 1994, but being with Latino and Black characters. Going to Peru, spending a lot of time in Peru, a beautiful place. It was like it was different than your average just like white people in a town. It looked different than your average Transformers movie, which was also really nice.
And the sound design for Unicron is really good. Like, because I don't know if you guys felt this, but in my theater both times I could feel his size coming into the screen. Like my chair was shaking. I thought that was cool.
Theater specifically, the most I felt a rumble. It's when Optimus Prime was walking close to the screen, and I felt the boo. And I'm like, oh, those are some hefty thumps.
Yeah. Now, I will say the sound design, when they turn the bass up, you definitely feel how big these machines are, and I love that part.
I wish I had the sound for this movie that I had for Spider-Verse.
Okay, hold on. Sorry. The Maximals I have in my note. I just wish we got more Maximals in this movie. There's a world where I think we can kind of split off and make a Beast Wars movie and a Transformers movie.
So that's my question. I don't know how well this movie will do, and I don't know if they want to do Transformers spin-offs when they're already kind of doing a side thing with the Bumblebee, like soft reboot thing.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about the next movie, whether they're going to continue to do the X-Men First Class route of like, oh, this one's in like 1998. It's 4 more years in the future, right? Or is it going to be Transformers 6 or whatever, and it's in 2023? Because like I don't want that, even if it's a new director. Like I like this like almost nostalgic, like we're going into the past and see how the Transformers like built their way in society with us and stuff, and like especially with like the end of this movie where that goes, like it feels like they're going to lead more into that version than Transformers spin-off movies. You know what I mean?
I really like that the Transformers had been there for years, but at this point I thought that I really enjoyed that, and it felt like they had, not that they were just put in stasis for a couple of years until the next movie.
Question. The Dinobots are just sleeping somewhere when this is happening, right?
No, the Dinobots, because I just watched this movie.
No, please explain, because I don't remember.
The Dinobots are currently probably with Lockdown on his ship out in deep space.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Before he comes to Earth, because Lockdown had taken the Dinobots.
I forgot they're tied together. On Cybertron, right?
Yeah, I don't like I don't like that there's still someone who wants to connect it to the Bay films because I want Megatron. I want the Dinobots. I want you to do it right this time. And so far, in my opinion, you're 2 for 2.
Yeah.
And you weren't even that with the Bay films.
Sure.
So like I really want to see this continue. I see the path of doing Transformers and then doing Beast Wars at the same time because we get more Beast Wars. Should we talk about the ending?
That's why I'm more like, as long as we get more of the Beast Wars stuff. Like again, they kind of cap themselves by saying everyone else is dead, but they could also just retcon that and like, who really cares? Because like I know
want
we
T-Rex
want more.
Megatron.
Exactly, like we just want more of it. So like, just forget you ever wrote that.
I not only want T-Rex Megatron, I want Dinobot.
Yeah,
Dinobot's great.
I want Dinobot as a Maximal. That's what I want.
And the Dinobots. I want Dinobot and the Dinobots.
How? Oh,
we want it all.
So the end of this film sets up what I thought was Sector 7.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Because Bumblebee says that Sector 7 is still in this world. They want to connect it. Okay, this is Sector 7. It is the most unhinged thing to just be like, nah, G.I. Joe.
And here's the thing about it. It's incredibly like subtle. It's not big explosion. It's not Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson kicking in the door. It's time to join the Joes. It's like, hey, what's up, man? I heard you deal with aliens. Go check out over here.
That's cool. Hey, here's my card. And it telegraphs it just before. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
It telegraphs it just before because the plaque that he moves says "Real American Hero" on it.
Yeah, that's when I knew. And I'm like, is that just are we having fun here and it's still going to be Sector 7? And then the car, he's like, oh, it's G.I. Joe. And it's like, it's just like so like nonchalant. And I'm like, synergy. It's so funny. It's so weird.
They've been trying to do a Transformers G.I. Joe crossover movie for a really long time. They are practically in the same universe no matter what now.
Yep.
And the fact that they were like, nah, that we're gonna tease a G.I. Joe crossover. I mean, look, that might be the only way to make a good G.I. Joe movie. Who knows? But it's
real quick. I think both of those movies are a lot of fun.
Well, that's fair. But it's such a wild and quite frankly, I believe it's like the most unhinged ending because it's so out of left field and it's so bold and it's so pompous and it's so interesting. And I'm like, I want it. Actually, I want it for you. I want you to be able to do this finally.
Yeah. And the really cool thing is that, again, this takes place in like 1994. So like, if you would have just told me that Sector 7 is G.I. Joe, I'm like, okay, that lines up, whatever. But like, they're not nearly as cool as G.I. Joe. This reminds me of like Evangelion 2.0, where it's like, this is where you think Sector 7 would come in, but now instead it's G.I. Joe, and this is the branching timeline. So now we will get new stuff, and we don't have to worry about the past. And I'm like,
and it's got to be a branching timeline because G.I. Joe's not in the Bay films.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And like, unless G.I. Joe's gonna die in the 13 years before Transformers comes out from 94 to 2007, which I don't think is gonna happen. So like, I think they're quietly. I think the producer's just doing his producing thing, like, oh, they're connected, brain synergy. But I think once you do this G.I. Joe thing and you realize you cannot connect these movies, he's gonna back off and like, no, this is the future of the Transformers and G.I. Joe franchise, not the past. And like,
he better because if he does, that brings up a lot more characters are on the table because he won't let Megatron be used because he's on ice in this moment. But RC's in 2, so he kind of slipped up. RC is in Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah, I think after, man, again, having Unicron be like one of your villains in this is already really incredibly weird because like they got to put that dude in our Earth. He's got to be in the Earth, and I don't know how that's possible. So like, I do hope and think that they will just back off because like you'll just make more money if you don't care about it. If you just tell a fun story, just have Megatron be there. Who cares? Let him be a dinosaur.
Like, not only that, have Megatron be there and work with Cobra Commander.
So funny.
Yes.
Look,
yes.
Look, he holds the gun that Megatron becomes.
Not only that, because
and they're both voiced by Frank Welker.
Yes.
Hell yeah. No, because the G.I. Joe and Transformers, they've cited
the comics cross them over all the time.
Yeah, comics cross them over all the time. There's like this really cool Decepticon Cobra logo that I think is really rad.
Yep.
I honestly, you cannot give me if you drop that subtle G.I. Joe bit. You have to. I feel like now you have to give me a G.I. Joe Transformers movie, or at least you have to you have to do something with that, because now it's just like, that's in my brain. That's what I want now. I want G.I. Joe crossing Transformers. And I actually agree with Brandon where you can take away the Beast Machines and have their own separate Beast Wars movie and just call it Beast Wars.
Yeah.
Just call it what the original cartoon was, Beast Wars Transformers. Bring in T-Rex Megatron. Bring in all the other Predacons. Bring the war to Earth, but just have it out somewhere, maybe very minimal human characters again. But because I will agree.
Because you could set up real quickly, Ben. You could set up, because they do kind of set up the idea that you can split, go either way at the end of this film by keeping the Maximals in Peru. You can have it be like, oh, the Predacons are on Earth now. The Maximals got to fight them, and then you got the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover, and then you got the big crossover with the two Megatrons team up and they fight.
Yeah,
see, that's actually brilliant. That's brilliant.
Pay me. I got your franchise.
Paramount, call me. Hasbro, call us.
There are so many interesting ways that this can go. And I'm just curious if they're just going to take like the lamest way and they're not going to do a crossover. And this was just a soft launch of like G.I. Joe starring this guy coming out in 2025. And there's no relation, but it's just in the same universe until the next one. I'm like, no, just start hard. Get people to want to see a G.I. Joe movie. Put Megatron in it. Put a dinosaur robot in that movie where he has to fight Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
As Ben has said, we have seen Megatron and Cobra Commander, but we have never seen both Megatrons and Cobra Commander.
That's true. Not only that, have like the first trailer be the Cobra Commander and announcing to his troops and how he has a new ally, and Megatron walks out with the Cobra.
Oh,
with the Cobra
no, but like
Decepticon logo on his chest.
How excellent would this be? The first movie, the trailer is like Cobra Commander's got a new tank, and it's like it's a great tank. We're like, oh, interesting, and then we watch the movie, and then we don't see it in the trailer. But when we watch the movie, that tank turns into Megatron. You're like, oh my god, it's a Transformers movie. They did it.
Unless Robert Kirkman leaks it to the press that Transformers are in it.
Yeah, I'm kind of really interested to see where that goes.
It got me more excited than not. I think also that actor, I forget his name, but he's a great character actor. He shows up in so many things. He's like a perfect dude. Like, I'm a dude in a suit doing my thing. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Okay. Let's.
Real quick, sorry. I've like I said before, like I've never really cared about G.I. Joes in my life. So like this is probably the most excited I've ever been, just because it's tied to Transformers. Just so everyone knows. Like I'm not going to become a G.I. Joe stan overnight or anything. That ain't happening.
Tomorrow you're gonna be like, guys, I love G. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I read all the comics.
This is just a quick note. This is the first time that the Transformers talk in their vehicle modes. They never do in the Bay films or in Bumblebee, unless you count the radio.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that they do, and I thought that was cool.
It's cute that like Bumblebee, you gotta stop going to those drive-ins.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, that's pretty cute.
Yeah, I really like Pete Davidson. I already said that. I just want to kind of like bat that in. I think he's great in this movie.
I think they got a really good human story, and like if like I don't necessarily need 5 writers on the next Transformers movie, but like whoever had this core story of the family stuff, like maybe get them back. Whoever, Toby, maybe if you're the guy. I didn't care for Obi-Wan too much, but like, you know, you did some good family stuff here. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, also like Obi-Wan. He was the movie. He was the guy who wrote the movie, so they used the script for the show.
Oh, okay, sure, that makes sense.
So maybe that movie was better.
Yeah, the core of it. Yeah.
Mag in the comments saying would love if they did Loch Ness or Bigfoot as Maximals in future Transformers movies.
Loch Ness is the plesiosaur of Magmatron.
Yeah, I like the banter between Optimus and Primal. I like the final battle. I really like the save. I really like this movie. I had a really good time.
I had a better time. I was a little worried about it, but I had a better time than I thought.
Yeah, okay. I guess I don't really have much more to add. So should we rate it?
Rate them.
Right. Ben, why don't you go first?
Because of my theater experience, I'm probably gonna give it a 7.5. I still think the movie was good. Had I had a better experience to get up, it would probably raise the bar. After talking with Brandon after the film, I realized, oh no, this movie is it. There are some issues with the movie, but all in all, I still enjoy it. I'll still definitely watch this again when it comes out on Paramount Plus. I had a good time. The action scenes are good. I could just use a little bit more Maximals, but other than that, I would say solid. And for once, I love the human characters in this movie. They are awesome.
I want to say I really like Haley Steinfeld in Bumblebee. I just think Ramos was better.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think she's great. I just think like I need to rewatch Bumblebee because I don't remember. Like I know she has agency as well, but I just feel like the humans like had like they did a lot of shit in this movie and they weren't just totally tied and reliant on the humans.
It's because it feels so fresh because they have a different goal than the Autobots. You know, that's what I think anyway. I think it puts a light on them because they are not an antagonist, but they are not aligned.
Yeah.
And that creates the like through line of like, you know, I forgot that we're supposed to fight till all are one.
That's true. Oh, that's a good callback too at the end. All are one. Yeah.
Ryan, what would you rate it?
I will also rate it 7.5. I think it's awesome. I don't think it's awesome. I just gave it a 7.5. I think it's pretty good. I do have a lot of flaws with it, but like the core of it's really strong. I could see myself watching this again. I think like if that final battle were just like remove a lot of those robots and just have it be more like one-on-one fights. Like I know this is an awful comparison, but like the ending of Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the second Mortal Kombat movie, where the final battle, it's just a lot of one-on-ones with everyone's like nemesis of the movie. Mm-hmm. I wish it kind of just ended like that. But overall, like I think it's a really good Transformers movie. It's a really great human Transformers movie, which I didn't think I wanted as much until I finally got it.
So for me personally, I really like this movie. I think this movie is awesome. I had a great time. I thought it's funny. I really like the action. Even the final battle. I don't think so. I would give it. I think it's a solid 8 for me. But my enjoyment of it is going to bump it to an 8.5.
Hell yeah.
So it is my second favorite Transformers film by far. I have soured on the first Transformers film a little bit more, but Dark of the Moon I still like. Yeah. So I understand that the pickings are slim, but like this and Bumblebee I think are the 1-2 punch, just some really good Transformers movies.
I agree. Like this is like you know, there are like low 7s and high. This is like a high 7. Like this is almost made. Like there's a lot of really great stuff in this movie. Again, it's like killing Bumblebee for no reason. It's like I don't know why we did that.
Okay, so that's 8.5. Shall we go into our book club then?